Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
And we are back with ATDC Radio, broadcasting live on the Business Radio X network. Lee, this is going to be such a fun segment. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce someone no stranger to the Business Radio X microphone, though it has been a while. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast Executive Director with Venture Atlanta, Miss Allyson. Eman, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, Allyson, before we get too far into things, tell us about Venture Atlanta for the person who isn't aware, the one person out there who isn't aware of Venture
I'm sure there's
Atlanta.
more than one. So Venture Atlanta is one of the largest venture capital conferences really in the country now. We started at just a Georgia event and have grown to be a pretty healthy southeastern event, but we're touting the nation now. I mean, we're rivaling some of the best conferences in the country now.
And then for a person who attends, what is that experience like?
So it's basically, one of your kind of conferences where you're doing networking, you're seeing speakers, you're going to cocktail parties, luncheons, that type of thing. But the part of Venture Atlanta that's the biggest part is that we've got technology companies that are getting on stage to pitch their investment opportunities. So really anyone that's an entrepreneur, interested in being an entrepreneur, has a company, supports entrepreneurs, want to work for an entrepreneur. I mean, anything across the gamut, students who are aspiring at some point, everyone comes to Venture Atlanta. So it's really the networking event of the year.
And then the people that should apply to be at this event are at what stage of their growth?
So there are all stages. Basically, we rolled out a couple years ago something called our showcase. So the showcase is those real young, hot technologies that they could be pre-revenue. We want it more than they're a napkin or an idea. We want to know that they have a minimum viable product. They got a website. They may have a founder or, and an employee, but they don't have to be much bigger than that. And those type of companies will actually get just a tabletop during our cocktail party. And then the companies that we're looking for on stage, we define as early stage to growth stage. And those early stage companies can be, companies that maybe have just put their own money in. They've done some friends and family. Maybe they've put $100,000 in. Maybe they've bootstrapped for several years and they're looking to really grow. And maybe they want $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $50 million. So, our early stage group is typically looking to raise about $1 to $5 million. And our growth stage is really anywhere from 5 to 50.
And then is this kind of industry agnostic, or is it certain kind of niches are more attracted to?
It is definitely all tech. So it is 100% a tech conference. But for everyone to understand out there, it is loosely defined. I mean, we go the electric car. We've had apparel. We've had Sifted, which was a food service company. So, we've had all sorts of companies. So tech-enabled services have been okay. If you look at the verticals that have been real strong, it's cyber, fintech, really a lot of places where Atlanta
is strong. Healthcare, IT.
Healthcare, IT, exactly. Marketing automation, logistics.
Right. And then, so now, if have a company of any size, and we're here at ATDC, so obviously this place is filled with
lots of ATDC companies have been on stage over the years, many, many, many.
And then when you're kind of talking to them here in the hallways, which they're wandering around at all times,
I know,
and you're telling them, hey, you should do this. What are the kind of the benefits you're kind of pitching to them?
So many benefits. First of all, let's take a step back. Obviously, to just apply to Venture Atlanta is free. So it's a very 10-question application. You upload a one-page executive summary. Almost every company out there should have some sort of executive summary that you send out to people who potentially want to partner with you. So your application process is pretty simple. What that does is the application now exposes your company to, just at a glance, 25 plus funds. So, all the funds, in Atlanta plus funds outside of Atlanta. So you're getting eyes, immediately on your company. Then if you're selected, it's free to present and to be a part of Venture Atlanta. We give you tickets to the conference. We give you the opportunity to come to an investor dinner that's on the rooftop of Ponce City Market. So last year we had 250 funds there. So I just want everyone to kind of resonate with that.
To wrap their head around.
To wrap it, yeah.
250 people that are looking to invest.
Right. So right now,
captive on a rooftop.
Yeah. So right now we already have 75 funds, and that's before, like most of those funds sign up in 2 months. So 75 funds have already said they want to come. We get people that have come every year for 12 years. So the networking that you get with these investors, we also help facilitate one-to-one meetings with the investors. So let's say you're at the conference. We've got a mobile app that'll help connect you to the investors. The average company that participates in Venture Atlanta has 10 meetings with investors at Venture Atlanta. So, some of you out there might be going, oh, I just don't have time. I'm in major fundraising mode. I don't have time. Well, if you have time to get on a plane and go to Orlando for the day and, spend the money on that plane ticket, rent a car or do your Ubering, whatever, you've spent more time than applying to Venture Atlanta and getting on stage for 5 minutes and pitching your company. So, it's a wonderful way to get exposure to hundreds of funds all at once. You don't have to get on a plane and go to San Francisco and go down Sand Hill Road, fund to fund to fund to fund. They'll all be at Venture Atlanta.
Right. They're coming to you.
Right.
You literally
save that money, guys. Save your time, save the money.
Right. In the time it takes you to Uber to the airport, you could have filled out the application.
Exactly.
And then instead of waiting for the plane to arrive, you could be at the event.
See, it makes so much sense. So you basically will get 5 minutes to pitch on stage. We do a lot of PR support around it.
Do you help to coach them to do a good pitch?
Yes.
So coaching is involved. So
yes.
You're getting some benefits of just to be better at pitching.
Yeah. So I will never forget when one of the companies ended up, there's companies that have not only completely changed their pitch, really gone, God, is that really my secret sauce? And, someone else, unraveled that. But there's companies that have gotten customers, a connection that a coach made for them I'll never forget years ago, someone made an introduction to the head of Lowe's, that came out of coaching. And this company was like, God, just going to coaching. I got, one of my biggest customers. So, and then we also support our alumni going forward. So we do events, like we hosted a dinner a couple weeks ago that one of our sponsors, Aprio, hosted a dinner for 15 CEOs at South City Kitchen. And the goal was just to help them, let them connect, let them talk about things of, something they're struggling with, whether it's, building their C-suite team or, how do I, deal with this issue or this new technology or this new, tax law. So, it was an awesome event. We actually sent out the marketing piece, and within 10 minutes, I had the dinner sold out, and I had a waiting list of 15 companies. In 10 minutes, it was kind of crazy. So people are definitely seeing the value of getting involved.
So now let's walk through the process. So now you're one of the companies here at ATDC. You say, you know what, I'm super busy, but I'm going to carve out that 10 minutes, I won't binge watch Netflix. I'll skip an episode.
You'll skip an episode of Stranger Things or whatever.
I'm going to knock out this 10-minute application. So I do the application, I send it in, and I get in, say. What are some of what's the next step? Like when does the coaching come in?
Yeah. Once all the companies will be notified by August 21st. And then we actually have a presenting companies reception with members of our selection committee and kind of go over some of the expectations because, they do need to work on a PowerPoint deck. They need to work on, their executive summary that we're going to put in their conference book. So there's definitely things that we're doing. So, yes, it does take other time, right, once you're selected, but, you'll go through a couple coaching sessions and then the day of.
And who are these coaches? Like, where are you finding these coaches?
So the coaches are mostly investors, or they're people on our selection committee. We've been very fortunate. Wayne Callum, who's, serial entrepreneur, investor in town. Fantastic.
Right. Like you're not just going on Craigslist and saying, hey, I need a coach.
No,
these are like super smart, connected people.
Yes.
So just going through this process is going to be beneficial.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, Wayne has just been amazing. He literally will sit there and take notes on everybody. And then he's actually reached out to people afterwards and said, I really liked, what you said, but if you just tweaked it this way, it'll resonate more with your audience.
Mm-hmm. And then for you doing this for so many years, what has been the most rewarding part?
You know what? I love when companies tell me that they had a great experience. I loved, 2 years ago, I got an email one day from Rebecca Francois, and at the same minute, I got another email from John Hanger, and they were both, John was the current CEO of Car 360, and Rebecca was one of the founders with her husband, Bruno, at Car 360. And they reached out to me. They said, can we take you to lunch? We just want you to know that because you let us, watch Ernie Garcia speak at Venture Atlanta last year. They were one of my alumni companies. They ended up, stalking him at the bathroom. Rebecca will tell this true story. Stalking him at the bathroom, showing him their technology, and obviously Car 360, Carvana, and he ended up buying the company. So, Rebecca and Bruno were like, we just want to thank you. You changed our life. We want to thank you. And I remember sitting at my desk going, wow, am I really doing something that's changing people's lives? I mean, that's so awesome.
And the impact goes beyond like those individuals, but all the people that were participating in part of the company changed their lives as well.
Yeah. And we've had many, lots of great stories like that. I mean, we've had so many companies that have gone on to do amazing things. I mean, you think back to companies like SalesLoft and Cabbage and Pindrop and, the Cloud Sherpa. I mean, Michael Cohn, amazing entrepreneur and investor here in town, who he got on stage at the very first Venture Atlanta. It was him and his co-founder. And I mean, Accenture bought them. He's doing great things. So, I just love seeing the entrepreneurs that are also giving back.
And then are you seeing this, the startup community evolve like that, where a lot of these people that got their start here, say a decade ago, where they are kind of investing back into the Atlanta startup scene?
They definitely are. We also we'll get entrepreneurs that'll come on year, like it'll be their second thing or their third thing. It's like, whoop, this is their new thing.
Right.
Oh, look, someone's out of retirement or someone's, started a new thing. And I mean, we love having those serial entrepreneurs. We also love, if you've been a company that has been on stage at Venture Atlanta, our alumni companies, we want to put you back on stage if you've made significant progress and you want your story to be told again. Like, so let's say you pitched in 2015 and it's like, wow, we've really made significant progress. I want everyone to know what's happening now.
Right.
When we got on stage, we had 3 people and we were raising $500,000. Now we have 50 people and we're raising 20 million. Like, we want to put those companies back on stage also.
And then now this alumni network you have, how many people are in that?
There's about 400 companies. So our companies have raised, it's over $4.2 billion. And the exits are over 14 billion. And, obviously a lot of those big numbers, I mean, certainly Cabbage and SalesLoft and Pindrop and, some of those companies have had some large fundings, which is wonderful. But we've had, tons of companies that have gotten 5 million, 10 million, 12 million, and, a lot of active people, here in town. I mean, when I started with Venture Atlanta, the first place I came was ATDC, which was not here, not on this floor at the time. And I didn't know what an angel investor was. I didn't know what anything was. And, there was Inlay Investments with SEG, and there was Nora Mosley and a couple other, investors in town. And that was it.
Right.
ATA,
was a small group.
ATA had a little bit of a presence. And, what's happened since now, with BIP and Fulcrum and VOCAP and, the Endeavor Group and Engage and Tech Square Ventures. I mean, there's just so much more here now.
And also these kind of incubators, accelerator, co-working spaces, those weren't around either.
Oh my God,
and
yeah. ATV, didn't exist. Prototype Prime, the Switch Yards, Techstars, didn't have a presence. So
now the whole ecosystem has expanded. Are you seeing kind of, you mentioned some of the industries we're kind of good at, marketing automation and fintech and healthcare IT. Are there up and coming things that maybe you're seeing trends that,
the big thing you hear about, AI and blockchain,
right.
those are, and I am not a technologist. So I do great with events and marketing, but some of the blockchain and AI technology is well over my head. But, those
you're
are,
seeing
those
more
are the
of those
buzzwords.
Startups kind of popping up though in those kind of clusters.
Yes, definitely.
And then, any tips for the person that hasn't applied yet? We know they should apply. What's the deadline for that?
The deadline, good point, thank you, is August 2nd. So it's
getting close. So now get off your butt.
Yes.
Spend the 10 minutes.
Here
put
is
your
my
name in the
advice. Don't wait till the last minute. I literally get companies that'll email me and, the Friday, August 2nd, I'll watch my email all day and just cracking up because it'll be, how late can I apply? Can I apply at midnight?
Right.
Does 2:00 in the morning still count? And, basically what I'll tell people is, listen, I go to sleep. I'm a 10 o'clock at night, kind of kid. So, if you apply at 2 a.m, I'm not going to know. Go have your fun, apply at 2 a.m., apply at 4 a.m., whatever. We don't care. But, don't wait till last minute. What you have to understand is hundreds of applications come in at the last minute. So it makes it harder for us to go through those applications. Like right now, all the applications are in, we've spent time on them. We've talked about them. We've gone through them.
And
we've looked at them.
Right. They're the appropriate people. Like the word's getting out already for those people.
Yeah.
They're kind of maximizing.
Yeah. And we're like, ooh, they may be a good one. They may be a good one. We're looking right now at who should be on our list. So, waiting till the last minute is not always the best.
It's not helping them. And then, so now the people apply. How many people get selected?
So we'll select about 30 companies for the stage. So about 15 in each group. And then we'll select another 35 to 40 for the showcase. So again, the showcase can be early companies, and just for everyone to understand, we are not just a Georgia conference anymore. So our footprint is DC to Texas. We've done that. We started that a couple years ago, about 4 years ago. But over the last couple of years, we treaded very quietly, going, okay, we'll have 3 companies out of town, maybe 4 companies out of town. Well, I'll tell you guys, there's a lot of applications in already, and they're out of town. So Atlanta folks,
they're not waiting until the last minute.
No, they're not. The out of town folks are not waiting. So Atlanta folks, don't wait.
Right. So now if somebody wanted to apply, what's the coordinates?
So just go to ventureatlanta.org and you go to our companies page and hit apply now.
Okay, so deadline one more time for applying?
August 2nd.
The event date?
The event date are October 16th and 17th. It's at the 200 Peachtree, which is the Southern Exchange Ballrooms, which is the old Macy's downtown.
Right.
And just, again, for everyone to know, we already have 75 funds signed up. I mean, they're coming in every single day. We're on target, we're targeting 300 funds this year. We're doing a lot of, local outreach. If you want the opportunity to meet with these funds at one time and then come into your backyard, apply.
And then what do you need more of right now? You need more attendees to the event? You need more?
Of course. We need attendees. We need sponsors, everything. I mean, believe it or not, we're actually pretty close to our goal with sponsors, but we definitely still have a few more sponsorships available. So if you do want to get in front of this awesome audience, and, that's one thing to really talk about. The audience is about 40% entrepreneurs, about 25% investors, and then the rest of the audience is composed of people that support entrepreneurs and investors. So it could be people looking for jobs. It could be, your accountants, lawyers, bankers, commercial real estate folks, anyone that has some awesome technology, that supports an entrepreneur or supports technology companies. We always have students come. We do get volunteers from Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Emory, and certainly we'll be looking for those students again as well.
And then do you partner with the colleges around town?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Or just for the volunteers?
Yeah, just for the volunteers. Yeah. Yeah. But we do have student tickets. Emory and Georgia Tech and Georgia State and some of the groups do buy some student tickets. Those are, pretty reasonable, but we only sell a certain lot of those.
Right. So. And then to attend, you have to fit into one of those categories, like the lay person couldn't attend.
No. Anyone can attend.
Anybody can attend.
Yes. Anyone can attend. Yeah. You do not have to fit in a category. It is an open event.
And then you just go to ventureatlanta.com to get .org to get the tickets.
Yes,
as well.
And you hit register now. Just ventureatlanta.org. We actually just ended our early registration last week, so a regular ticket is $6.95, but we do have discounts for entrepreneurs
and students
right. And investors.
Well, Allyson, thank you so much for sharing your story. And again, all ATDC companies, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this should just be part of your day.
I think for any entrepreneur, it's a no-brainer.
Right, but the ATDC, has hundreds of companies here.
And we know we'll get plenty of those applications. Right. So, all right.
Thank
you guys.
Allyson, thank you again for being part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, this is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We will see you all next time on ATDC Radio.